what are these things that we can do to help us save more money?
Yeah. So when it comes to LLCs respectfully never help you save more in taxes than not having an LLC. LLC's main goal is to help you from an asset protection standpoint. So if a real estate property is in your personal name or real estate properties in your LLC, the deductions won't change, right? The deductions won't change for all intents and purposes. So to answer your question, outside of just the normal deductions and the depreciation of that you get from real estate, there is something that's called a cost segregation study that is just that straight gangster. Like a cost segregation studies are how millionaires, multimillionaires, even billionaires set themselves up to live tax free. So, do you want me to go into cost seg study and like give people why it's important and how they help?
So, first of all, what is cost segregation
Let's
and
talk about it.
how does it help real
Okay.
estate investors?
Let's get it. So, cost segregation studies is basically having an engineer come out to your property and segregate the different assets of the property out from itself. So, without a cost segregation study, you're putting all of the assets in the property under one umbrella. So, the cabinets, the counter, the roof, all this is getting put into the value of the building, which is depreciated over 27 and a half years, right? However, with a cost segregation study, we're segregating out. So now we're segregating, all right, what's the value of these appliances? What's the value of this flooring? What's the value of this roof? Because roofs are depreciated at 15 years, appliances are depreciated at 7 years. So now by segregating out the different avenues of your property, I'm able to help you depreciate stuff faster, right? So in our $500,000 example, what if $200,000 of the 500,000 was appliances? Now we get to divide. We get a depreciation deduction of 200,000 divided by 7 versus 500,000 divided by 27 and a half years. So we don't have to wait so long to capture the depreciation in the property. So on average, with a proper cost segregation study, you can depreciate 30 to 40% of the entire value of the property in the first year, which is crazy.
So instead of the cost, so in layman's terms, basically, instead of me depreciating over
27 and a
27 and a
half
half years, this cost segregation report allows us investors to deduct it up front.
up front. You get a huge portion, 30 to 40% of the value of the property can be depreciated in the year that you purchase it. So if you get $1 million property, you're looking at a $300,000 to $400,000 tax deduction in the year that you purchased the property just for owning it. So you remember that $400,000 net income that came from our business in our K1?
Yep.
All we do is take $200,000 of that, put a down payment on $1 million property, and we go receive a $300,000 to $400,000 tax deduction, wiping out all our income.
Yo, you gotta love America.
Gotta love it. Look, I
Don't.
tell people all the time, don't hate the player, don't hate the game, just learn the game so you can win the game. Period.
So cost segregation, you can only do this. Can you only do it one time, or can you do this every year?
So when you do it, it works. So you get that's your deduction first year. Then you get another deduction the second year. So you still get the rest of the life, but you're just fast forwarding it into the first few
So
years
you get the depreciation still over the 27 and a half years of
for the rest of
ownership
the. Mm-hmm.
on taxes, right? But the cost seg just gives you the immediate hit from day one when you first buy the property. So if you're actively buying rental properties every single year, you do the cost segregation every single year, and then boom, you're minimizing your taxes and still getting depreciation every year after ownership of these properties, correct?
And MG, think about what else you're doing. You're building your real estate portfolio every single year. So you're gonna look up, and the money you're making from your property is gonna be making more than your business.
The cost segregation is basically, in layman's terms, it's a report that
What is? I'm sorry. What is it? What is it called?
cost segregation,
Cost.
cost, ST.
Okay, cost segregation. Got it.
Cost segregation is basically an engineer is doing a report and basically saying, IRS, this property is worth this. Here's the findings.
Okay.
Let's accelerate the depreciation. Instead of doing the depreciation over 27 and a half years, every year when you file your taxes, you get a lump sum of that up front the year you purchase the property if you do a cost segregation. So that
Okay.
way
Okay.
you get a larger deduction on your income taxes when you file them,
Okay. Got
right?
that.
Now,
Yeah.
Carter, how much does this cost segregation report cost, and how many properties do you need to own before you start doing cost segregation?
Okay.
So cost segregation studies can stem from as low as $500 to up to $5,000, depending on how big the property is, right? Because the bigger, the more work it's going to take. Here's the thing: the cost segregation study is tax deductible as well. So yes, you're paying for a cost seg study, but you get to write off the cost of the cost seg study on your taxes. So it can be anywhere from 500. I've seen as high as $5,000, but you don't have to own. You can own one property and get a cost seg study. There's no limit on how many properties you have to own to have a cost segregation study. Like my goal is to buy a new property every single year, get a cost seg, use the tax savings that I'm getting from the cost seg as my down payment for my next property. And I'm gonna keep doing this over and over and over again, build my real estate portfolio up and avoid paying taxes. So cost segs are literally, man, I'm trying to find a good way for layman's terms for people to understand it. It's, man, it's a real estate hack that is not talked about enough. It's a real estate
Yeah,
hack that's not talked about
I
enough.
never even heard of that.
So, cost segregation, you can only do this for investment properties, correct?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Not primary residences.
Nope.
Can you do this for owner occupied multifamilies?
I want to say no. I'm not sure, but in my research, it was only for strictly investment properties. I can
My
double check
research
that.
too.
Okay. I can double check that. I think it's only for real estate property, only for strictly investment properties.